USB bandwidth to do this too. Oh yeah, here we go.
Coming to you from the Black Swan Media Studios, this is Fireside Chat, the real difference makers in the world. Now, here is your host, John Crump.
What is up, everyone out there in YouTube land, Facebook land, Twitter land, every other land there is, D-Live, and all of the groups and everything I broadcast to. My name is John Crump. I am the director of the state of Virginia for GOA. I'm a writer for AmmoLand.com, and I like to do live streams for people and get their stories. If you want to help us out, you can help us out by going to patreon.com/John Crump. And if you like coffee, check out Defender Coffee. Defender Coffee is really awesome. What they do, which is kind of cool, is all profits go to pro-gun groups. So when you order your coffee, you select where you want the profits to go to. So they're basically like a nonprofit coffee company that supports 2A groups. I see Flying Rich out there, Richard Hughes. But tonight I am joined by John from Armslist. He's the founder of Armslist. And John, one thing, never fly with Richard Hughes. He's the only pilot I know that's been in 2 plane crashes and survived. And he's like, man, I'm really good at it. So
in a way, he has a really good record.
That's what he's trying to tell me. He's trying to say, hey, man, I've been in 2 plane crashes and I didn't die. So I must really know how to crash good without while there. So if you want to comment. It will pop up here. And John, there's a little view count up here. Since I'm using Restream, it doesn't work. So
that stinks.
But I can look at my other screen and look at my Restream and see how many people are watching. And right now it's 23, which hopefully will go up a little bit.
Yeah, we can do better than that.
Yeah, we could do. And if you're on, you can join the conversation here, which I'm trying to push everyone over to the YouTube page because I think it'll be better for us. It's youtube.com/John Crump 2. But let's get into this. John, I see that you are the founder of Armslist, which I have used a lot in the past, not only to sell guns, but to buy guns. Before we get into what's going on with you guys, I want to backtrack a little bit and give us a little bit of history of Armslist.
Well, I mean, the history is actually pretty straightforward. I saw a long time ago, but before all the big tech stuff we're seeing now got quite so bad, that the Second Amendment was sort of not really respected on very many websites. Started way back when eBay and Craigslist and those would say, gun posts aren't permitted. And I thought that was kind of garbage. And I mean, I didn't really set out to end up where I am now, but I mean, it's funny. That's just what happens sometimes. So we just kind of started a small website and we're letting people use it. And one thing led to another. And now I get the Brady Campaign. I've become their public enemy number 1.
Yeah, you are the public enemy number 1. I actually wore this shirt. Let me put it down to just because I was talking to you. Hold on, let me kill that banner there. I'm sorry. What it says is defend the first, because I think your case is not only a First Amendment case, but a Second Amendment case. If the people out there don't know, John is being sued by our friends over at the Brady Organization, which changes their name like every week. So the Brady Organization, which was the Brady Campaign, which was the Brady Campaign for gun safety, which was the Brady Campaign to stop gun violence, and I don't know why they keep on changing their name. But they have a little problem with Armslist, and what they're doing is they're exploiting a officer who tragically died in Chicago to sue you guys. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate statement of what the latest lawsuit is. Yeah.
Yeah. So were you surprised by the lawsuit, or did you have any idea that it was coming?
No, I mean, you never get any real warning. They just like to have their little media fest where they, talk about how terrible Armslist is, and how they're gonna magically do something this time that they haven't been able to do in the past. When their lawsuits always get dismissed. It's just obviously not a fun process to go through. I don't know if anyone watching has been sued, but I recommend against it if you have a choice, one way or the other.
Yeah, for some reason our chats aren't coming through, so I'm trying to monitor them over here as well. One of the people asked the question: did the family of the officer contact you before Brady Organization sued you guys?
No, they did not.
Do you think that the Brady Organization was looking for someone to exploit to sue you guys?
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, because that's what some of the people are saying, that they've tried to sue other places. I'm not sure how true this is, but someone's saying that they tried to sue Gunbroker. I don't know if that's
I'm
true.
not aware of that one.
I'm not either. But that's just someone in the chat was saying that they tried to sue Gunbroker in the past. This lawsuit, well, some people are saying that they think it's to try to bankrupt you guys.
I mean, I think that is a very that's a very good guess. I mean, obviously, we don't know their exact motivations because they don't put all of that in the complaint that they file at the courthouse. There's obviously a lot more to it than just what they put in there, because even some of the stuff in there is ridiculous. But I mean, that's certainly a very valid assumption, a valid guess for somebody to make.
Yeah, a couple of different people I want to give credit to, like Matt is out there who said that, and other people. Richard Hughes wants to know if he can get a job at Brady Campaign. I guess your stuff is coming through, Rich. Weird.
Yeah, maybe he can get a job there, and then he can give us some inside information.
Yeah, I talked to Dan Gross before. He wouldn't comment on the story because he used to be the president of Brady for 20 years. But in the past, when I've talked to him about Brady Campaign, he said that a lot of people there have a fundamental problem with the Second Amendment, and it's not actually about guns.
Well, I mean, I think any lobbying group like that raises the kind of money they do, you're going to find that to some degree. I think the bigger problem is that they don't understand liberty or appreciate it. I think that's the bigger problem, and because that just spoils and bleeds into everything else that you do as an organization.
Yeah, they definitely don't understand liberty. I've had run-ins with the Brady Organization in the past, as you can probably guess. I have any big organizations. I know I'm working with GOA on a couple things for you guys, but so with the exclusion of GOA, because I am working on some stuff for you guys. Have any big organizations reached out to you guys or tried to help you?
No, none of them have reached out to me. Aside from talking to you and talking to Second Amendment Foundation a little bit, I have not had any contact from any major organizations that live in the firearm space.
That's kind of disappointing to me.
Well, I mean, this is the fourth time this has happened. I'm no longer surprised by it.
You've been sued before?
This is the fourth time that Brady Organization has funded a lawsuit against me.
So basically, you're on their radar, and they're going to do everything to shut you down.
That's historically what they do.
The other lawsuits, what's happened with those?
They've been dismissed.
So basically, they're doing what their MO is. If people don't know what their MO is, what they do is they go after pro-Second Amendment companies and organizations, and they will sue them over and over and over again. They know they're not going to win, but their whole entire point is to bleed them dry.
And their budget, obviously, their litigation budget is not really an issue. They don't care how much they spend because they know what's going on. And one of the other recent ones, they kept appealing, and they got to the Supreme Court of the United States. And the Supreme Court denied certification, denied cert, which is to say they chose not to take it, which just reaffirms the highest court we had before that, which was the state Supreme Court, which ruled in our favor.
Yeah. So, do you think that they're going to keep on attacking you guys, even if
there's no, what do they say? The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. So, based on that, it seems almost 100% certain.
How did you get on their radar?
I don't think there's too many other websites that really work the way Armslist does, and I don't think there's any other organizations that really are embracing the First and the Second Amendment, merged together the way that Armslist does.
That's why I really like Armslist, because you guys do embrace not only the Second Amendment, but the First Amendment. And I'm a big liberty guy. People say, why are you so 2A centric? And my answer is the Second Amendment is the amendment that's under the attack the most right now. And once they get the Second Amendment, they're going to roll over to the First Amendment and
it's definitely under attack the most, and it's the one that matters the most, because if there's no Second Amendment, there's a meme I posted on the Armslist Instagram after we got it restored after it magically disappeared, and it's it basically just says if politicians are willing to treat you this badly when you're armed to the teeth, imagine what they would be willing to do after you're disarmed.
And that is definitely true. There is a reason they want us disarmed, and it's not for safety.
Not for our safety.
No, it's not for our safety. Look at Bloomberg, for example. He walks around with tons of armed guards. He also thinks that anything that holds more than 3 rounds should be banned as an assault weapon.
Oh, yeah. His views are pretty extreme and extremely hypocritical. Guy that walks around with armed guards all day, every day.
Yeah, he walks around with the armed guards. He tells his employees to get abortions. And
Did you see that quote the other day? He said, "Are you going to kill it?" to a lady that said she was pregnant.
Yeah, because he was complaining because too many people were out on maternity leave. And then he also said that if you're 95 and with cancer, we should just tell you had a nice life and there's no treatment for you.
Yeah, I don't know if Ruth Bader Ginsburg has weighed in on that quote yet. I'd be interested to see what she says.
Well, in her case, I would agree with him.
Well, that's not really what it meant. I just meant they're both laying on that side of the aisle, and she's received a great deal of medical care in the last couple of years and overcome a lot of health obstacles.
Yeah,
and here comes the guy trying to buy the presidency, saying, "If you're old and sick, we shouldn't help you."
Yeah, he tried to buy Virginia, which I don't think it's working out the way he thought it was going to work out.
Well, no, it certainly didn't work out the way he wanted it to. But with someone with the amount of financial resources he has, it's not really that big of a loss to him.
Yeah, he had a rally in Richmond. In Rich, for some reason, you're the only comments that are coming through. I think he might have hacked something. He had a rally in Richmond where I got video of it, and there's more 2A people outside the rally than there was people supporting him inside the rally. And a lot of people inside the rally were actually 2A people who started chanting 2A stuff.
Oh yeah, I know someone who was there at the. Do you mean the main rally that happened like the first day of SHOT Show?
No, he was.
Oh, there's a different one.
Yeah, the main rally, the first day of SHOT Show, that was amazing. But he held a gala in Richmond last Saturday, and just massive amounts of people turned out. And then he had another event in Alexandria, Virginia, which the 2A people outnumbered the other people. So hopefully he won't come back to Virginia.
Well, they just keep attacking, the Second Amendment and gun owners anywhere they can. They've proved that over the last few years. It used to be, it was only so often, like in 1986 when we got probably the latest drastic gun restrictions where we were no longer, we were guaranteed by the government that we wouldn't be able to have machine guns ever. Not anything manufactured after 86, and for one before 86, it's still preposterous. That was probably the last time we had a major one. You used to get gaps once in a while. They'd kind of take a breather and go focus on some other legislative nonsense, but it seems like the Second Amendment is on the chopping block for these bastards literally every time they do anything.
Yeah, they definitely want the Second Amendment gone. They don't believe in the Second Amendment. What I always like is when they claim, "Oh, I support the Second Amendment, but I don't think you should have any guns." Which,
Well, anytime you say you support the Second Amendment, but I mean, it just means not.
yeah, what do you think about all like these red flag laws that are being pushed around the country?
I mean, they're pretty troubling. Obviously, it's a way to disarm people without due process, and essentially, a lot of people can be left in harm's way. Particularly people that have any sort of physical ailment, or frailty. That how are they going to protect themselves against criminals that one, don't care, and two, are often physically larger and stronger than you are.
Yeah, I was on Pittsburgh today, earlier on this morning, and the host of Pittsburgh Today, which is our local TV show, was like, "Why do you need an AR-15 to defend your home? I think a handgun would be more suitable." And
Yeah, it's kind
mine,
of interesting. What is your opinion on what's suitable for the way I defend my home relevant to this discussion whatsoever?
well, my argument was, it's not my right to choose how one defends their own home, and also, if I was going against a bunch of thugs with guns, I would want to have an AR-15 more than a handgun.
Or maybe a 249.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, I would love to have a 249 against a bunch of thugs. That would be awesome. Be a really bad day for them.
Yes, it would.
But if I have a belt fed just spraying, 249 is a SAUL, squad automatic weapon, which is like a belt fed. It's like the grandson of the M16 and the M60. Sorry, everyone knows what the M60 is.
Oh, hey, it looks like Jerry Compton found his way into the comments too.
Yeah, it's more and more. I don't know. Sometimes Restream is kind of flaky, where comments stop coming from different places. We're supposed to pull comments from every channel so you see Facebook comments pop up there and everything else. But it's look like it's being a little bit flaky. Flying Rich there.
Well, computers. I mean, I don't want to start any conspiracy theories, but our Facebook page got disappeared right before SHOT Show, and still hasn't come back. So I mean, if you're having me on, then it's certainly not going to be good for your technological issues.
Yeah, it's just really weird. I don't really know why. And somebody's telling me that the alerts that we are live didn't go out. For some reason, Facebook didn't push the alert out.
Did it have the word Armslist in the broadcast?
Yeah.
I'm not going to claim to know what happens behind the scenes, but I'll tell you, we have a lot of problem with our alerts going out.
Yeah, that's really weird. I usually don't have any problem. There's more than 3 people watching. It's just right now. Let me see. I'll tell you how many are watching from different places. 35.
Yeah, is that lower than you would normally have?
It is.
I mean, I don't want to say I'm an excellent guest, so it couldn't possibly be my fault. But we do seem to have a common thread with having trouble with distribution when the word Armslist is attached to anything. I don't know if you saw this, but you can't even send a private message on Facebook Messenger that has armslist.com in it. It just blocks the message.
Okay. Rich got the YouTube alert, but I guess some people did and some people didn't. But we usually average around like 75 people. So we're about 40 people less than what we usually average, but
little worse than usual.
Yeah, which is weird. I actually heard that if I put Armslist in the title for the live stream, that was going to happen. And I usually don't. I usually just put the name of the guest in there, but because someone told me that,
you had to try it.
I had to try it, and it's really weird. Why do you guys think you're targeted by all the tech companies?
Well, I think they really don't like liberty so much either. because once you have a certain amount of power and control, true liberty is threatening to your position and your wealth.
All right. Jerry Compton just got the alert 20 minutes after we went live.
Yeah, that's a pretty big delay.
Yeah, weird. I'm surprised because I thought it was just a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, we've had people trying to help us get our Facebook page back, and they, reach out. People we met at SHOT Show, and they say, "Oh, we've helped other people get their page back. Usually only takes 2 days, maybe 3." And it's been since SHOT Show for us, and it's still.
Are you talking about?
Yeah. And he was like, "Yeah, it's weird. I've never had this much trouble before getting someone's page back."
Yeah, Chuck and I work hand in hand to get people's pages back at Facebook, and we're having issues with getting Hank Strange's page back.
Yeah, well, I went on his show.
Might be because usually, like he says, it usually only takes 2 or 3 days, and we can get the page restored. And it's usually some type of incompetence or someone made a mistake on that end. But yeah, I totally believe you guys.
Well, I was on a personal 30-day ban when they took away the page, so I couldn't fill out any of the appeal forms on the website either, because when you're on a personal ban, if you know this, that you can't do anything. You can't fill out any forms on the whole site.
Yeah, I'm in a secret Facebook group for people who can get back sites. I'll reach out to Chuck and see what the status of yours is.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we reached out a couple days ago, and he just said no update, no good news.
Yeah, that's what I got from the Hank Strange one today, where it looks like the tickets are just sitting in limbo.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen before either. Or they get bounced around to different groups.
And then nobody helps you.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. I can't promise anything. But I have been able to help out like people like Military Arms Channel and a bunch of other places. Well-armed women I helped out. So I'll see what I can do for you guys.
Oh, well-armed women got hit too?
Yeah, a while ago. We got that back. Somehow it got tagged mysteriously for sexual content.
I don't think I've ever seen them post anything that was overtly sexual.
No, they don't. So we're up to 46 now. So
okay, we're starting to get a little traction. That's good.
Yeah, I guess the alert was delayed.
Got tar pitted.
Yeah. So you do believe that you guys are being targeted by tech?
Well, there's no question. There's no question that there's things going on behind the scenes to come after us, take away our voice, and just make our lives difficult. In addition to the direct civil lawsuits, funded by the Brady Organization.
Do you think Brady has anything to do with talking to tech companies behind the scenes?
There's no way for me to know that, until I get in a lawsuit into discovery. So we'll see if that's going to be possible or not.
Yeah. Trolls do just tag 2A people. That definitely happens. I've actually worked with that and gotten where they have a bunch of people go in and tag it as, a violation of something or hate speech or something like that. And then they do get a shutdown. So that
true. But if you prided yourself on running a free speech forum, wouldn't you go out of your way to try to fix problems like that?
Yeah, they don't make claim to be 2A friendly. How about Twitter? Do you guys have issues on Twitter as well?
Twitter has given us no issues. It's the only platform where we've had no problems whatsoever.
Yeah, that's what I'm here. That's what I hear, that people on Twitter actually leans on the side of
actual free speech.
Unless you talk about like transgender people or something like that.
Oh, really? That's the way to get banned on Twitter, huh?
Yeah, they will ban you for talking to transgender people. I was actually banned from Twitter because that guy Castro who ran for president and his brother.
Yes.
He tried to list all the supporters of Trump in Houston. So, and not retaliation, but just to see what.
He was just doxing people essentially.
Yeah, so I doxed him, and then he filed a privacy complaint with Twitter against me.
Did he get in trouble for doxing Trump supporters?
He kind of, it got removed. Twitter did remove it. They didn't give him any type of ban or anything. They just basically took down the tweet. But
Yeah, I mean, even in a case like that, it still seems a bit one-sided of these tech companies, the way they handle things.
Yeah, but he got pissed off and filed, him or one of his people filed a complaint against me, which I thought was kind of funny.
Did you get your account restored?
I got my account restored. It was just like a little ban for a few days, but I did it for an article. I wanted to see what would happen, so I did that, and then had a journalist friend of mine reach out to him and say, "Hey, what do you think of this guy doxing you after you doxed all these people?"
Interesting.
It was kind of trolling. We're up to 57 now, so
You're good. So if you're just joining in, you haven't caught up with us. I'm sorry. Am I dominating the conversation by doing that?
Go ahead, man.
Okay. If you're just joining, my name's John. I am the majority owner of Armslist.com, and one of the reasons I'm here to talk tonight is I think it was last week. It's been a few days, but it's really a bit of a blur at this point. The Brady Organization announced yet another lawsuit that they are funding and pushing against Armslist.com. And because they are such unique and special individuals, they named me personally on the lawsuit too, because that's just how they play the game.
Yeah, why I think they did that is because their other lawsuits against Armslist failed.
Oh, they named me personally last time.
Oh, they did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Very nice of them. Don't you think?
You seem like you're really frustrated about the whole thing with the Brady Organization.
I mean, it's frustrating enough when people are abusing the court system just to make your life hell, but then you have to deal with big tech censoring us, our Facebook page disappearing, can't even send messages in Messenger that contain links to armslist.com. I mean, it's gone pretty far and pretty out of control.
Yeah, the Messenger thing interests me. If you use a URL shortener or something.
I mean, I haven't personally tried that. I've just seen all the screenshots people send me. They say, "Can you believe this crap?" I can't even send my friend a link to something I saw on Armslist.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a story about that if you don't mind. I think
that'd be good.
Very interesting. Have you reached out to Facebook and talked to them about being blocked?
I've tried to reach out, but I don't know if anyone else has the same experience. I had a YouTube rep for about 3 emails, and then the YouTube rep ghosted me. So I have a really, really poor record at getting anyone to respond to me from any of those companies.
So you basically think they see Armslist and you're like a bad org?
Pretty sure I just get ignored. Yeah, I think those tickets that you see sitting, I think that's been the MO for me, my personal account, and the pages that I manage for a long time.
Yeah. How many listings are there on Armslist?
I mean, I'd have to look. I mean, it's certainly, probably a 5-digit number. I don't know. Could be even higher.
Yeah. Have you ever considered actually bending the knee and implementing something to block some posts? Or
I mean, we do a lot to keep the site clean, and obviously their tactics are not, oh, well, maybe if you just had the ATF information plastered everywhere on the website. Oh, wait, we already do. Or maybe if you made everyone agree to the terms that said they, wouldn't break the law or be a shitbag, and, they'll call the ATF if they see something suspicious or report it to us or whatever else. Oh, wait, we already do all that too. So, I mean, basically what they want us is to just not let people do it unless there's a background check. And funny how their stupid arguments work is you can't do a background check unless you're in a physical gun store. I mean, this, I know this. You have to physically be present. They don't have any other way to do one. So really just the ATF, FBI, DOJ is just way behind when it comes to the internet. People should be able to do background checks for any reason. You shouldn't even have to be selling a gun. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're subletting your apartment, wouldn't it be nice to have a free instant check you can do on your mobile device to make sure that person is not a felon?
That would be great, but you know how the government works. Their technology is lacking. Look at the healthcare.gov.
Oh, it was a disaster, total disaster. Yeah. But I mean, my point is just that if you want more background checks to take place, which is presumably the argument of every anti-gun person, why wouldn't you help us find a way to make it free and available to do on our phones so we don't have to physically go to a store and pay money to have it done? I mean, if any other enumerated right in the Constitution, you had to pay money for the government to vet you before you got to exercise your right, people would be completely outraged. But somehow with the Second Amendment, everyone just overlooks and says, well, that's how it is.
Yeah, that's really surprising to me. Being GOA and everything else, we don't believe in background checks at all. The 4473 is ridiculous. In fact, have you ever seen the Red Dawn meme?
I mean, I've seen a lot of memes over the last couple of years. So can you refresh my memory?
It's the guy saying go to the sports store and grab all the 4473s.
Oh, grab the records so you can go house to house and confiscate them. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious, that meme, and it actually makes sense.
Well, I mean, there hasn't really been a time in history when registration wasn't very shortly thereafter used for confiscation. I mean, that's just a historical fact.
Yeah, that's what I always say. I see registration, background checks lead to registration, which leads to confiscation.
I mean, historically, that's extremely accurate.
Yeah, it's in every single fact. I'm going to show you this meme. I just want to get your opinion.
Yeah, pull it up.
Let me let's see here.
Does he actually say 4473 in the movie?
No.
Okay.
Red Dawn was before the 4473s.
But they have dialogue in the movie that's talking about doing exactly that. Just it didn't say 4473.
Yeah, it went go to the sporting goods store and get the records.
Yeah, then they literally went door to door and killed everybody that didn't voluntarily go into the prison camp.
Yeah, and then they looked and they killed the guy who ran the store because he wouldn't turn over the records of who owns what.
Yeah, it's a real warm, fuzzy dystopian future you run into with this stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's what we would see. That's what they want.
They wonder why we don't want to have a civil discussion about how they can take away our rights that will lead to a horrific dystopian future, just like in Red Dawn. When I mean, it could be a different government, it could be a corrupt leader within our own government. It doesn't really matter. That information is extremely dangerous, and they're like, well, let's just have a civil discussion about how we're going to take your right to keep and bear arms, and then also we're going to keep forcibly taking money out of your paycheck with the threat of imprisonment, and we're going to use that money to disarm you. And by the way, we use it to kill babies in the third trimester too, because we think that's also great for the country.
Yeah, it's really ridiculous. But
you need to be more civil about how we discuss this. Let's have a civil discussion.
A couple things. They always like to say, let's compromise. So when they say that, I said, okay, well, so you want universal background checks? All right, but let's remove suppressors and let anyone who wants a suppressor be able to buy it over the counter.
And make the background check free too, so we don't have to pay for it.
And they're like, no, that's not what I mean. I mean, you compromise by
compromise. They don't.
Yeah, well, it's when I try to explain to them, that's not compromise. When you say, I'll just take half of what you have and let you keep the other half, and give you nothing back. Compromise is give and take. Their idea of compromise is take, but we won't take everything.
Yeah, not yet. We'll wait till later.
Yeah, and they always come back. Another thing that I like to explain to people is once you lose a right, it's really, really hard to get back that right.
I mean, short of an actual revolution, I don't think we see too many times in history when people have been able to get rights back from the government that they've allowed the government to take from them. I'm sure it happens, here and there, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah, it's very rare. There's only a few different times I can think of it, but they usually come back and try to take that rate.
I mean, I'm in Pennsylvania, and we have a turnpike here, and the toll rates just keep going up. And the story you always get when they build the road is, well, we just need to collect some tolls to help pay for the road, and then once the road's paid for, we'll take away the toll. But the toll never goes away; it just keeps going up.
Yeah, I see Chris Shoemake out there. Hey, Chris. Good guy. He helps me out a lot with different things in the background, different stories, different tips. Once again, it's not showing up over here. So, Chris, hi. Yeah, Armslist broke my YouTube channel and my other channels.
Well, I'm sorry about that. We've had our own troubles with tech, very very consistently on over the past few years.
Yeah, we're up to 69 total.
Well, there we go. We're getting close to what you would normally have.
Yeah, I usually would have around 75-ish in the first 10 minutes.
The word arms list broke your alerts. I mean, I don't think there's much arguing with that at this point.
There's Kermit Love Bacon, another good guy there. I love his name. But yeah, one of the things you're talking about is, how we really don't have rights. It's like an illusion of rights right now. And one of the things that I always talk about is how we don't really own property.
Well, yeah, when you have property tax, you don't really own it. And
don't pay the property tax, take it away.
If you study what's going on in our country over the last few years with the Patriot Act, some of the things Ed Snowden shared and everything else, I mean, a lot of our rights have evaporated right before our very eyes, but none so egregious as the fact that big tech and the big, we'll be generous, we'll call them left-leaning corporate media, just don't acknowledge that the Second Amendment is a right at all, despite the fact that it is an enumerated right, the second one, in fact, right after the First Amendment, which is what gives them the ability to even be on the airwaves spewing their nonsense in the first place.
There was an operation a while back called Operation Choke Point.
Choke Point, yeah. They're trying to take away payment processing and everything else, yeah. An actual federally funded operation to obliterate Second Amendment supporters.
Yeah, they wanted 2A stuff to be categorized in the same category as porn for dangers of fraud, where most gun sales and everything else has a lot of non-fraud, I guess you can say. Their fraud rate is a lot lower. And so I don't understand how they can say we need to mark this as a high chance of fraud.
It's hypocritical, obviously, that has nothing to do with fraud. It has everything to do with attacking, the right to keep and bear arms.
Yeah, I'm like, you have to go through a background check when you buy a gun. So, how many people are going to pay by credit card after they submitted a copy of their ID, a background check and everything else? It's not going to happen.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it had nothing to do with fraud from the very start. That was just pure hypocrisy and lies on the part of the people that were pushing Operation Choke Point. It's just purely just trying to destroy the right to keep and bear arms in America. I mean, we're literally one of the only countries left on the planet that has any real right for private citizens to have firearms. I mean, it's very limited in a few other countries, but certainly none with the size and scope of America. I mean, there are more guns than human beings in this country.
Yeah, Kermit Love Bacon brings up a good point, and I've been thinking about this a lot. There's a lot of states legalizing marijuana, but what people don't realize, like the people in Hawaii did, they got a little thing in the mail saying, hey, so since you're a marijuana user, you have to give up your guns.
Yeah, Pennsylvania did something very similar. Yeah, it's really pretty bad. I mean, it'd be nice if we could get federal decriminalization through, because it doesn't really seem like people get that angry when they use marijuana. But I mean, I'm obviously a lot more focused on the First and Second Amendment problems than that's such a weird sub-segment. I mean, because it's legal in the state but illegal federally. So
yeah, but they're taking away.
How does that even work?
Because if you use marijuana on the 4473, if you check I'm a marijuana user, then you get denied.
I mean, the only good thing to come from all that is that it really opens the door for states to have laws that are against federal gun laws and say, well, sorry, our state's different. We don't recognize that. So it's strengthened the states' rights cases. We'll be seeing more of that. Some of the federalism, some of the the federal government should be subservient to the states rather than empowered over them. So hopefully we'll see some good things for the Second Amendment community that come from that.
Well, there's a law in Indiana that says if you buy a suppressor built in Indiana, that you don't need to go through the whole ATF, NFA.
Yeah, as long as you don't take it to another state or anything else.
But
I think a few states have done that. I don't know that we've seen many of them tested.
Oh, there is a test, and the guy who sold it and the guy who bought it both are being prosecuted, and they both lost already. It's going through the court system and appeals, but right now, as it stands, they were prosecuted under federal law. And
so the 10th Amendment is being construed in these to not the states don't have any rights and the federal government is the supreme authority.
Correct.
So that would mean that the state that says your marijuana is your cannabis Second Amendment, that would also have no power.
Correct. It's going through the courts. The GOA is actually funding the charge against it. So we're actually fighting in the court. We're picking up all the legal costs for the guys.
That's nice of you guys.
But as it stands right now, it's been ruled that federal law, there's preemption in federal law.
So what I mean is people will get to keep their guns, but they'll have to give up their weed in the states that are trying to do the opposite.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting how it works. Working behind the scenes, you see a lot of the stuff that you don't really see on the front page of the paper. A lot.
Oh no, the front page, the headlines are really just a very selected group of stories that's just kind of meant to entertain you and distract you from some of the more important things that are going on.
Yeah, you saw the Lobby Day thing, right? Virginia Lobby Day. You're familiar with that?
Lobby Day. Oh, that was the day that they had the 2A rally. And they say there's usually a couple hundred people that show up. And that day there was like people that were there told me more like 50,000.
Yeah, I mean, they say 22,000, but I don't buy that.
Yeah, everyone I talked to that was there said that's an extremely low estimate.
Yeah, I was there, and I was supposed to get on a plane to fly to SHOT Show that night, but I didn't make my flight. So, but there is an article in the Independent put out by the AP. I'm trying to find the picture of it where it said white supremacist rally helps defeat gun bill in Virginia.
Oh, of course. They want to paint, pro-gun people in a bad light.
Yeah, I'll bring it up now. I just wanted to get your opinion on this because I know you have very strong opinions.
Well, I mean, it's not hard to find someone in the media that tries to paint, the pro-Second Amendment crowd in a bad light. That's actually really easy to find.
Yeah. Chris Shoemake says they left the guillotine. Yes, that was funny. What they did is the guillotine thing is they brought a full-size working real guillotine and they left it on the like the steps of the Capitol.
Oh, it was real? I thought that was fake.
No, that was definitely real.
Wow.
I went up to it. Yeah, it was definitely real. It was sharp as hell. But check out. Oh, hold on. God. There it is.
I mean, the headline is really just kind of. That's how you can define propaganda is when they put in white supremacists when you don't need to. I mean, you could just say Virginia lawmakers reject assault weapons legislation because smart individuals that have read a history book think it might spark a civil war. They don't need white supremacists. You could substitute a lot of different groups in for that, but they like to do that because now all of a sudden the pro-gun headline has white supremacists in there. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Let me show you my picture of me and my white supremacist friend here from Lobby Day. Where
Well,
they
yeah,
call
that's the thing they also really hate to admit. They don't want to admit, that it's a very diverse group of people that are pro-gun.
yeah,
And
yeah. This is one of the guys that I went there with.
yep.
you know, and
Yeah, I mean, we're an extremely diverse crowd. I
w-
mean, not as diverse probably as some groups, but whatever. I mean, if you go to SHOT Show, if you go to your local gun shows or events, there are people. Not everyone has the same skin color. They like to say, "Oh, it's just a bunch of backwoods," whatever negative things they like to say. I won't repeat their words for them. But yeah,
yeah,
I mean, it's simply not true.
yeah. Later on, like next week, I'm going to have the president of like the Virginia chapter of Black Lives Matter
Nice.
there on. And the reason why I'm having him on is because he went to lobby day and he reached out to me because I'm a GOA rep and said, I want your honest opinion. Is it safe for me to go to lobby day? I'm like, yeah. It's like, take your people. It's like, you'll be fine. No one cares. And he was interviewed by one of the reporters there for like ABC or NBC, because he's Black Lives Matter. And they're like, "Don't you feel dangerous or being in danger by being here?" And he was like, "No." He's like, Everyone's been so kind to me." And they were like, "Well, how about the Confederate flags?" He's like, "I haven't seen a Confederate flag." So they were trying to get him to play into the propaganda, and his character said, "I'm not to play into it."
No, well, he was just being honest from everything I've ever heard from people at that event. I mean, they wanted there to be violence. They tried to insert some Antifa folks. They tried to, stir things up. And what happened? No one was violent at all. People were getting along fine. They even cleaned up after themselves, unlike, Antifa rallies where they just absolutely destroy entire areas.
Yeah. Antifa was there, but for some reason they were nice.
For some reason, they weren't very bold.
Well, here's the thing. I made their list of fascists.
They call you a fascist?
Yeah, I'm on their list of fascists to I guess it was like their hit list for like the Richmond rally.
Wow.
We got to stop these fascists, and I was on there. And one of my friends, as a joke, pits that he's a manager of Black Swan Media, which is my little media company. He does some side work for me, whatever. So they listed him as a fascist because he was linked to me through this name.
Well, aren't those the same groups that call Ben? What am I on his name?
Hero.
Yeah, they call Ben Shapiro a Nazi. I mean, you just can't trust anything they say.
Yeah, he's the only Nazi wearing a yarmulke.
Yeah, he's literally an Orthodox Jew.
So yeah, so I saw their list and I decided I wanted to go find them. So I went and found them to try to ask them why I was a fascist. And I had a couple of my friends with me who were pretty well armed. If for some reason they're like, yeah, we don't want to talk about that.
Oh, they wouldn't even talk about it. Yeah, see, they're happy to.
We don't know.
We have to
check. We have to check. We can't really know. I was like, but you guys said you're targeting me. So what are you targeting me for? They're like, we don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible.
Like, could it be because I'm with a bunch of heavily armed people?
Well, it could also be because they're trying to spread lies about you.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to spread lies about me. My friend Devin, the guy I showed you a minute ago, he's like, "You're the worst fascist racist ever."
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that seems to be the case anytime you get a bunch of pro-Second Amendment, right to keep and bear arms people together, is that immediately all of the lies spewed by the media and the gun grabbers are proven wrong.
But how do we stop that? I mean, how do we stop them from spreading lies to combat that? Any idea?
I mean, there's a lot of things we could do, but I mean, the first thing we have to do is just stand up for our voices. It's something as simple as, Facebook blocking. You can't even put Armslist in a private message. I mean, that's your private message. That's not even being published, So we've got to stand up and not allow things like that. So, I mean, you should definitely complain to Facebook if you're trying to send your friend a link to something on Armslist. Because, I mean, some of the pages on Armslist, a lot of them are articles and, content that is educational in its nature, and you can't even send those.
Yeah, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize about Armslist is you guys do like reviews and everything else.
Yeah.
There's videos out there as well. Let's talk about your legal defense fund for a minute. You have
That would be great. Yeah, I appreciate it.
you have legal defense funds, Armslist, legaldefensefund.com to help you fight Brady and other organizations.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't have to speak negatively, excuse me, about any other groups, and I won't name them by name, but there are certain groups that people aren't that happy with right now because they don't like, where the money goes, where it gets spent. And, I can tell you for a fact that every dime that goes to Armslist Legal Defense Fund will go to the legal bills that are associated with doing this. I mean, every penny. If there's ever excess, trust me, I'll find some other great causes to get behind. But I mean, that thus far, all it really does is just take money out of our bottom line.
It's not cheap to defend that. Have you thought about having some type of fundraisers or whatnot?
I've thought about it, really open to it. Maybe you and I can talk more offline or whatever else over the coming weeks, see if there's anything we could do to make that happen.
I think there is.
Yeah, I mean, I think could get creative and do something like that because I'm not. I'll stay out of the political speak. I don't like to feel sorry for myself or anything like that. But the toll that these things take on you personally and professionally is pretty substantial.
So you're not a liberal.
Pretty much. That sums it up.
So do you think after you win this lawsuit, because looking at it, it's obvious that you're going to win. Are you going to sue for legal fees or anything, or can you?
I mean, that's a good question. There's a reason they pick the jurisdictions they do. They pick the ones that are the most favorable to, wild plaintiff suits and the least favorable to recovering fees after the fact. So, I mean, you just don't know until it happens. But that's something I would like to look into.
Another thing, do you think if you win this case that they're going to try to sue you again for something else?
I mean, like we said earlier, past behavior is the best predictor of future behavior. And this is their fourth different, perfect plaintiff try to do it. And there have been many, many appeals in between. So I would see no reason why they would be stopping.
Yeah. Have you been sued by any other anti-gun groups?
That is they have funded every lawsuit that I've ever gotten that was in any way political in nature. The only other lawsuits I've ever had are these tiny contractual things with someone that just didn't pay me for advertising that they were supposed to pay.
Yeah, it seems like these groups work together.
Because there's definitely some coordination. Dare we call it collusion?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe they'll get impeached for it. Because I've been tracking a lot of these lawsuits, and when like every town sues someone, Brady doesn't sue these people. It seems like they have a set of targets, and I can't say for sure, but it seems like Brady has a set of targets. Every town has a set of targets.
Yeah, they all seem to have their own game plan. They sort of run over and over and over again.
Yeah, and it seems like they don't really targets really don't end up on both lists.
It is interesting that way, isn't it? It's almost like they're all getting a bunch of money from the same sources behind the scenes, and they each have their list of marching orders that they just execute dutifully. It's weird like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like they have some like midget billionaire out there that funds
or some guy whose initials are GS that gives them tons of money and tells them what to do with it.
Oh yeah, the guy who's banned from his home country.
Yep.
One thing about Soros that people don't understand is he's not a good guy. And look at that, like, well, oh, he's self-made billionaire. Like, they don't realize that he made his billions by shorting stocks.
Yeah, and I mean, not that shorting stocks in and of itself is wrong, but Bernie Madoff was a self-made billionaire too, and so was that guy from The Wolf of Wall Street. That doesn't mean you're a good person if you're a self-made billionaire.
Yeah, but
Bernie Sanders is a self-made millionaire, and he's never worked an honest day in his entire life.
Yeah,
and ironically, he's hugely anti-Second Amendment. Can you even believe that?
Yeah, he's definitely anti-Second Amendment. Interesting thing about Soros is if you look into Soros, look at him shorting the pound. He basically
Oh yeah,
crashed
broke the Bank of England.
broke the Bank of England to make billions. So it wasn't like, oh, it was going to happen anyway. It was he worked actively to break the Bank of England
Oh yeah, yeah, that's his mo.
to make his money. Yeah, it's crazy. And then you have other people like the Bloombergs out there that say all this racist stuff, and it seems like the media gives them a pass.
I was getting a huge pass. Yeah, I mean, Biden has said a bunch of racist stuff, and I mean, look at the mayor of Virginia. My goodness, the guy was in blackface not that long ago, and he's magically got a pass.
Well, the mayor of Virginia was in blackface. He said he was dressing up as Michael Jackson for a Halloween party, even though he was standing next to a guy in a Ku Klux Klan outfit. Which
Yeah, didn't look like he was Michael Jackson to me.
yeah, and then the lieutenant governor of Virginia has 4 rape charges against him.
Yeah, funny, he's kind of getting a pass too, isn't he?
Yeah, and then the attorney general of Virginia also has a blackface scandal.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable how bad it can be. And I mean, Trump is a really good example that reveals their hypocrisy, because it's not like the guy's perfect, you know. But their attacks on him, where he didn't do anything wrong, are stronger than their attacks on the Democrats, where they have clearly done the thing that Trump didn't do. And they attack Trump for it, even though he didn't do it. And they don't attack Democrats for it when they clearly did it.
Yeah, well, I think Trump frustrates them because he doesn't care what they say about him. They just go to
I
Twitter.
think he does care, but I think he just continues to, push through.
Well, he cares, but he doesn't care to the point where he's going to try to kowtow to
Oh,
them.
yeah. You're not going to stop him from saying what he was going to say.
Yeah, which I think that is their issue with Trump, is because he's not really controllable.
Oh, he's definitely not controllable. I think that's what scares the Dems about Bernie, too.
Yeah, I don't think I think they're going to screw Bernie out of it again.
They're going to try for sure. Who will get it if he's out is a scarier thought still.
What do you think about Bloomberg paying the DNC to change the debate rules?
I mean, I think should come as no surprise that the party that last time screwed Bernie gave debate questions to Hillary ahead of time. I mean, they're just plagued with scandal after scandal. Is it surprising that they took money and did something unscrupulous? Not to me.
Yeah. It seems like the Democrat. Well, I mean, Tulsi Gabbard said the Republican, like the RNC, is a lot more transparent and a lot more fair than the DNC.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. She scares me even more than the other candidates sometimes too, though, because she'll say like one or two things that kind of appeal to correct thinking people politically, and then you look at the rest of her platform and it's horrendous. So
yeah, her platform is horrendous. The only thing I like about her platform is her free speech stuff.
Yeah, that's literally it. Everything else is friggin' awful. So, I mean, I don't know. In a way, she scares me more than the other ones, because so many people on the right are, oh, wow, look what Tulsi Gabbard said and did about this.
Because she's hot.
And that's really it, too. A lot is about her appearance, yeah.
Yeah, she's hot, and people want to.
Like if Hillary Clinton was running a, ice cream truck that said free ice cream, we would all just assume she's trying to do something absolutely horrible. Because of her appearance, you just don't trust her.
Well, yeah, she does look kind of frumpy.
She looks like the biggest liar and most corrupt person in the history of American politics, because she is the face of that.
I would say, I guess you can judge a book by its cover with that.
We can now. She earned that title, just like the fake news earns their title. I mean, they've worked at it. They have earned that title.
Bloomberg, he owns a media organization.
Yeah, he has his own. It's called Bloomberg.
Yeah, and he ordered his people not to report negative on him.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I think that if I come from journalism, and if I was told that, I would quit.
Well, I mean, just look at the things on CNN and MSNBC on any given day. I mean, it's not journalism anymore. It clearly is not.
Well, it's not journalism. it's really hard to find like the Walter Cronkite type of journalist who is, these are the facts.
Those people are mostly gone. I mean, you honestly, and this is weird to say, you get a straighter answer from BBC, and there's actually state-run media.
Yeah.
Not that they don't also lean left and are wrong on some issues, but they're more honest than CNN.
Yeah, CNN is interesting. MSNBC is open about their political leanings. CNN tries to say, "Oh, we're right down the middle."
Yeah, they're real down the middle.
Yeah, I find that really interesting on how they act like that. And to anyone who's watching, they can tell that they're not, and I think that's why their ratings are suffering.
Well, if you don't know anything and you don't do any research and you don't think for yourself and you see something on television over and over and over again, you're going to believe that it's true. And now that there are voices, and frankly, one of the most powerful voices in the entire country, the president, calling them out when they do fake stories, more and more people are thinking for themselves.
Yeah. Another thing that I find interesting is on the right, if we have a rally like the pro-gun rally, the pro-2A side, let's say, has a rally, they leave the place cleaner than what it is.
Cleaner than when they got there.
But like the J20 protest, they were burning limos and busting up Starbucks windows. And yet we get blamed for being violent.
Well, that's we're really just saying the same thing over again. It's fake news.
Well, hell, look at the Bernie rally where the Black Gun Matters guy, got attacked by a white guy, and the guy's black who's being attacked, and the white guy's like, "You're a racist. You're a racist."
Well, you couldn't make this stuff up. I mean, if you watch dystopian movies, that what we're living through right now is stranger than most of those movies and books.
Yeah, it's like a mixture of Equilibrium, 1984,
Idiocracy,
yeah.
all at once. Yeah. So if it makes you mad and you want to make sure that the Second Amendment isn't completely erased from the internet as we know it, go to armslistlegaldefensefund.com and help us out.
Yeah. So pitch that a little bit. Armslist Legal Defense Fund is up on the screen right now.
Oh, thank you.
Every penny goes to the cases against you.
Literally every penny.
Yeah. Have you thought about?
I won't go buy new suits and get apartments for interns.
Yeah, some gun organizations do that stuff. Not naming any names out there.
Not naming names,
but a lot of them do. And I think the biggest way people can help you, one of the biggest way, is to share your stories. There's some stories about you on AmmoLand, and I'm going to do another.
You guys did a good one, and on AmmoLand, and another really good one was on Truth About Guns. They did a really good one in the last week.
What we need you guys to do is to share this video and share those articles, and just let people know. Because not only is this an attack on the First Amendment, on the Second Amendment, but it's an attack on the First Amendment. And if you guys lose this, it's going to have effects across everywhere.
Oh, and that's sort of what I try to communicate is, I mean, I've done this 3 times. That's just the base lawsuits plus appeals. So, I mean, basically the last 8 to 10 years of my life have been completely disrupted by this nonsense. And I can't say that it's fun and I like doing it, but I can say it's a fight that I refuse to walk away from. But the resources they have on their side are significantly greater than ours. And we nobody in this country that supports the right to keep and bear arms or understands liberty can afford for us to get knocked out of this fight by attrition or just generally bankrupting us, so to speak.
Yeah,
Not so to speak, literally.
I'll be donating my own money tonight to it to help you guys fight it.
Thank you very much.
If you guys lose this, it's not going to just affect you. It's going to affect like sites like Craigslist, for example.
I mean, it will affect. Yeah, I mean, it will essentially it would erase the Second Amendment on the internet is what it would do. That's really what they're trying to do. I mean, it's a lot of really dangerous things put forth in the pleadings that would be horrible for America. But they have a laser focus on when it applies, when it's the Second Amendment. They really don't care, when people are getting trafficked, human trafficking on subways, in buses, using the highways or anything else. Like all that infrastructure, when people commit crimes, the anti-gun crowd just totally overlooks it. It's not anybody's fault. It's just the criminals. But when somebody uses the internet and something bad happens, well, we have to sue the website. Obviously, that's how they think.
Yeah. A couple more technical questions I have for you about the website. Armslist is a pretty significant site and pretty well-known site on the internet. Did you have problems finding hosting people willing to host it?
Not yet.
Because I've heard a lot of like pro-gun sites, they've attacked the hosting companies.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of that too. We haven't yet had an issue there. I mean, I think obviously that would be a pretty egregious violation of a business contract at this point. But the future, you never know what the future holds.
Another thing I noticed is I was on a pub network and I wasn't connected to VPN. I usually connect to VPN, but I forgot to turn it on. And I tried to go to Armslist because I love browsing Armslist ads, and it had you guys blocked of adult content.
I mean, you do have to agree to be 18 and follow the law just to even use the website. So technically, that I guess you could get away with that, but I mean, pretty shady.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny. So I connected to my VPN and went to Armslist. But it reminded me, I was like, oh, I'm not connected to my VPN. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, well, don't try to send it in a Facebook message either.
Yeah, I just hope we can defeat this for you guys.
Well, I really appreciate the help. And I mean, I honestly, not only do I not like money, asking people for money, I despise it. I mean, I think everyone should just, run a business that provides value to the point where people go, wow, I'm happy with the value I'm getting. I'm glad this is it's very, very capitalistic in that regard, that, there'll be an open exchange of funds for people that are doing things that are worth doing. But I'm literally to a point where I don't have a choice.
We just hit 74, so we're only one off of my average at 10 minutes. It
took us an hour to get to where you normally get in 10 minutes.
Yeah, and the chats aren't working from anywhere, from a lot of places.
Well, you attach the word Armslist to something on the internet, and you're going to have problems.
You know what? I never would have believed that. I would be like, oh man, it's just coincidence. But now I'm like, dude, they're absolutely right.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally every day of my life. That's what I deal with.
Damn, that's terrible.
It's pretty rough, but I mean, like I said, it's not something we can afford to walk away from. So hopefully people will, start to understand the gravity and the depth of this, and then they'll want to support us and get involved.
Yeah, well, let me get this the word out a little bit more, and Emily, I'm going to do another article on you guys.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
GOA on it as well. So let me reach out. I will be back in touch probably tomorrow a little bit. Probably tomorrow afternoon. I got to do a couple TV interviews tomorrow.
Nice.
I don't like doing, but it's part of the job, right?
Yeah, it's kind of in your job description. You got to do it.
Well, every time you do like a local TV show, they're always anti-gun. It's like, can I just get one pro-gun or NPR? I hate doing NPR, but I have to do it. But it's like, can I just get one pro-gun host?
Probably not. Probably not in those circumstances.
No. Yeah, I think they save all those for themselves, my higher ups. But yeah, so I end up having to debate everyone. So it is what it is. But
hey, remember, tell them we can't keep having a civil debate on how you're going to take my money with the threat of imprisonment and then use it to disarm me. Don't tell me I'm the one that's being uncivil.
Yeah, that's another thing people say. Well, you want to keep your money. You don't want to have universal health care and paid all this stuff. You're greedy. And it's like, am I the greedy one who wants to keep what I earn, or are you the greedy one for wanting to take what I earn?
Yeah, I mean, and taxation is theft. I mean, there's really no two ways about it, particularly when it's income tax or property tax. I mean, sales tax is really the only defensible form of taxation we have.
Yeah, like how can you tax something after you pay taxes on it every year?
Makes no sense. I mean, and sales tax, you could technically avoid if you owned your own land and you grew your own stuff and you ate it. You could avoid paying it most of the time if you wanted to. So it would only be when you decided you wanted to buy something that you didn't technically need.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's what we should do. We should just have like a 20-25% sales tax, have it apply to everything, have no exemptions, don't file taxes, and don't pay income tax.
Yeah. It would actually probably save money too. And
I think it would save a ton of money. Why should we collect taxes 596 different ways when you can just do the one that gets collected automatically every time people buy stuff?
Yeah. You're in Pennsylvania. I'm in Virginia. Maryland is in between us.
Yeah.
Maryland,
Don't drive through that state armed.
yeah. I might have done that a few times. I actually had a concealed carry permit in Maryland for a long time.
Actually, I've heard that if you're just passing through, they're actually pretty reasonable about what you're allowed to do.
Yeah, they are. As long as you, they have like an interstate compact where is what it's called, where if you keep your gun locked up, you can transfer anything as long as you're passing through the state.
Yeah, I think you're not even supposed to stop for gas if you can avoid it.
You can stop for gas. You can stop to eat. You just can't stay overnight.
So if your car breaks down, that all kind of falls apart.
Yeah, well, that's what happened in there was a case out of New York where a guy was flying through JFK.
Yeah, going hunting somewhere.
Yeah, and his connecting flight got canceled. So you had to bring your bags to the hotel. Then they arrested him for having a gun.
Yep.
So that's why I only fly direct flights with my firearms.
You could still get rerouted for weather and be forced to land somewhere you don't want to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's what you risk. But getting back to Maryland, Maryland has a tax on rainwater if you collect rainwater.
Yeah, that's absolutely preposterous.
I mean, it's like, okay, we're going to tax the air that you breathe.
So they'd like to. I mean, pay attention to the people on the left that push all the carbon tax nonsense. Like, hey, I know what we'll do. The countries that are the cleanest when it comes to emissions in the world, let's make those people pay a whole bunch of taxes while the Southeast Asia and everything else just pollute like crazy. And that'll fix it magically somehow. I mean, it's just another tax. It's just more government overreach.
In Florida, there's a guy who built his house totally off the grid, solar and everything else with generating power. And they said he had to hook up to the electric company and pay them a fee each month, or they were going to condemn his house.
Wow, that's really bad. Yeah. So I mean, these are all individual cases of what we're up against and what people in government are willing to do in the abuse of their power.
Yeah, that's why we should never give up our guns.
No, I mean, it's really to a point right now where we saw what just happened in Virginia. It's not gone. They just pushed it to next year.
Yeah.
And we see how badly they're suppressing. I mean, the thing that surprised people the most, I think, is I tell them how much crap I'm dealing with and going through, just like which you can now see from you put Armslist in the title of the show, and you've had unique problems that you never had before. And everyone I talk to that runs any sort of gun pages on the internet or websites, they've had problems too. I don't think anyone else I've ever talked to has had them to the degree or the magnitude that I've had them.
Yeah, I mean, what happened tonight is I put it in the title just to test it out, just to see if the rumors were true.
Yep. So next time you can use like a sort of coded version of it so that the algorithms don't pick it up, but people that are reading it can pick it up.
Yeah, usually I just put the name of the person, I guess, but this is next level shit here.
Well, yeah, it's kind of next level. And I mean, I purposely have not been a really public person on this. I didn't want to be a public person. I just wanted to create a website that people could use that, respected the right to keep and bear arms and gave people a place to talk about it and a place to talk to other people that might, want to buy or sell something. But it's grown into something I never really envisioned with these massive lawsuits.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you go. I want to thank you for coming on. Everyone out there needs to go to armslistlegaldefensefund.com. Usually this is the point in the show where I pitch my my PayPal where people can send money and whatnot. So I can invest into 2A programs and whatnot. But tonight I'm going to forgo that. And I'm going to say, if you usually, send me some cash through PayPal or whatnot, go ahead and instead send it to armslistlegaldefensefund.com and help out John over there and everyone over there, because if they lose this battle, it's going to be bad for all of us. And we are fighting not only to protect the Second Amendment, but we are fighting to protect the First Amendment as well. And they're trying to violate his First and Second Amendment, which is very bad.
And yours too. Everyone that uses the internet.
Everyone that uses the internet. And so we have to back up these guys.
Well, thank you very much for having me on, and thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I will get back in touch with you tomorrow. I'll talk to some of the people over at GOA, and I'll see if we maybe craft an alert to get information out and see what else we can do to help you.
That would be fantastic. Thank you very much.
Yeah, because I'm really disappointed other organizations haven't stepped up.
I mean, I've reached out to a number of them in the past, and I'm literally just kind of worn out. I just don't even bother anymore.
Yeah, and Chris Schumacher does say one of the problems we have is money is more important than liberty to some people. And I'm not saying money's bad. I'm a huge capitalist. Free market.
Well, I mean, and it is kind of sad to see that, how many people are giving money to Bernie Sanders so he can literally take away your liberty. I mean, that blows my mind that they're doing that. But, unfortunately, we have to vote with our money and our votes, and our actions. It all counts, and it's all intersecting, at this time in history.
So would you think one of the best things that people can do is register to vote?
I mean, people definitely should vote. I mean, we hear a lot of conspiracy theories about whether or not the machines are hacked, rigged, compromised. There's no way to really know for sure right now, us sitting here. But there's probably a lot of the votes that are definitely going through the way they're supposed to. So, yeah, if anything, you definitely need to get in and vote to overcome any fraudulent activity that's happening or any dead people that are voting. Because dead people, I think they always vote Democrat. That's what I heard.
That's what I've heard too. It seems to be the way. There's actually a town in Virginia that voted for a Democrat, and there were more votes cast than people in the town.
Yep. These sort of things happen all the time.
Just no one really talks about it. And Chris Schumacher says he really appreciates everything that you're doing.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, and Bernie's going to raise the minimum wage, then tax so much that you make less.
Well, did you see that meme about Bernie? It said Bernie's first, State of the Union address. He's going to open it by saying, "We're out of bread."
Well, bread lines are good.
Bread lines are good. It means people are getting in line to get food.
Yeah.
It means they're still alive, which isn't usually not true in a socialist nation.
Yeah, did you see when he was actually talking? That's a really great impression, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Did you actually see where he said that bread lines were good?
He also praised the Soviet Union and the public transportation.
Well, that's where he honeymooned at, is in the Soviet Union.
Well, of course. He loves communism.
I'm not a communist. I'm a democratic socialist.
By the way, the best person ever impersonate him was Larry David when he went on SNL.
Oh yeah, he looks like Bernie.
They sound so similar. He doesn't even have to disguise his voice. He just has to talk like Larry David, and he sounds like Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, I'm about to say that. But all right, I'm gonna let you go. Everyone,
Thank you very much for having me.
defensefund.com. Donate there. Visit Armslist as well. Don't donate to me this time. Not today. Armslist
Defense Fund. So if you usually give money to me for these shows, Armslist Defense Fund.
Armslist Legal Defense Fund.
Armslist Legal Defense Fund. Sorry.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
And I have no idea who those guys are, but Armslist Legal Defense Fund and everything. And I guess a lot of people, I'm looking at the chats on my windows over here popping up. Sorry, I can't put them up on the screen because Armslist broke my show.
The word Armslist will break your devices on the internet.
But a lot of people are commenting on how well you did your Bernie Sanders impression.
I don't really do impressions, so I guess I lucked into that one.
Yeah. All right, John. Thank you so much for coming, and I will be back probably Thursday night with a guest. I can't remember who it is. I had to look. But tomorrow night I am doing John Voorhees' show, and I got like 4 TV interviews. So
dang, that's a busy day.
I'm going to skip the podcast.
Yeah. Take a break tomorrow.
Yeah. All right, guys. I will see you Thursday night, and I'm going to play the outro, and we will get out of here. Thank you so much, John, for coming on.
Thanks for having me, sir.
You've been watching Fireside Chats with John Crump, a Black Swan Media Group production. Like, comment, share, and